Hello everyone, this is a video tutorial for your Colorful Portraits project. I'm going to show you in this video how to add color to your black and white drawing, and I'm going to show you two ways of adding color. You can either paint it on with your paintbrush, or you can make a selection and color it in that way. Okay, so this is one of my favorite projects because I just love drawing and painting, so I hope that you enjoy doing this project. Okay, so first off, this is what you have from the beginning of the year. You have your black and white drawing, and you have this opened up, and you have all your layers over here. And because it gets complicated and we have so many layers, we're going to actually make a composite, and we're actually going to call it a new title right away, okay? So I know in class we already practiced in class just with doing just setting up your layers and working with your background, but this is going to be the official way to do your project, okay? So open up your file. If you don't have your Photoshop file with all your layers, then just go File, Open, and just open up your PNG, okay? So since you have your Photoshop file opened up and we have all these layers, first thing we want to do is we want to unlock your background. Then make sure that your photo reference is turned off, and then every single layer that is turned on that makes up your picture, okay? And then what you want to do then is go to the top, and then you're going to make a composite, and that is Shift, Option, Command, and E. And right here is a composite right here. Okay, so if I turn everything off underneath it, this composite is all on one layer. Okay, so we could have merged visible, but if we merged visible, then we would have lost all our layers. And I don't want you to lose those layers in case you need to come back to them later on. Okay, so the composite now is sitting on top. And this composite is making up all these layers, okay? So what we're going to do now, we're going to go over here, select, and we're going to select all of it. So we want the entire picture. I'm going to minus a little bit so you can see the marching ants are on the entire image, okay? So we want to copy this entire thing. It's also copying the white background as well. So the white background and the entire drawing, every single layer is added, okay? So we're going to select all, then you're going to go Edit, Copy, or you could just do Command C, okay? And then we're going to go File, New. And since it is the exact same measurements as our last project, we're going to keep it exactly the same. And we're going to call this Colorful Portraits. So Colorful Portrait, you know what, if you want to say Colorful Portrait or Portraits, either way, you can have the S on it if you want or without. And then last name, first name, and then P 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6. Okay, Colorful Portraits, last name, first name, P1. Okay, and keep it exactly the same. Do not change any of the measurements, okay? Keep it 150, RGB, white, keep everything the same. The only thing you're doing is changing the title. Hit Create. Okay, so right now I have my background. If I go Edit, Paste, or Command V, it should take your picture and put it right on layer 1, and that's what it did. Okay, let's call this layer 1 Portrait Composite. Okay, so now we have the portrait composite. Let's unlock that white. We probably, well, yeah, that probably doesn't even matter, but let's just do that for now. Okay, so portrait composite, and now what we're going to do, we're going to start painting. So let me show you what this looks like. When we start painting, we're going to go item by item and then make a new layer, and we're going to label every single layer: hair, lips, eyes, coat, every single thing that we're going to do. We're going to make a new layer, color it in, and then go to the blend mode, multiply, okay? And before we do that, I actually want to show you something. I have not showed this to you all year long because it's really a painting mode. and we didn't really need to use it until now. And if you guys like using painting mode, you can keep it. If you find it hard to use and it slows you down, then you can go back to essentials, okay? But I do want to show this to you. So if you, first off, a lot of you are still having a lot of extra over here. So I keep telling you guys to close all that out because you are going to have a million layers over here. So you want to have everything closed. So if you are in your, I'm just going to show you. If you're in your essentials and you have all of this extra over here, I want you to close it out. Close it all, close all of it, close all of it, close all of it, except for your layers. You have your layers here, everything else should be closed. Okay, now I do want to show you the painting mode. So in here, if you guys go here to this little arrow here, you can see right here, we open that up. Remember when we were working earlier in the fall, we were in other elements, but remember we want to just be, when we actually, the 2020, I noticed the motion is the animation. So they changed the name. I noticed that. So we'll be coming into animation and using motion later on. But for now, let's just go to painting. So click on painting. Okay, now I'm not sure when it opens up for you. It might open up swatches and you see all these swatches. You see all the swatches that we add. We added them already, okay? And then go to Navigator, okay? Now in Navigator, you're gonna see that because we're painting, oh, you know, another thing, I think you might also have your brushes. So I remember when I first got this set up, you will probably notice over here, let's see, I think you have your brushes are in here as well. So if your brushes are in here, I would say let's close them because we're going to have a lot of layers. If you like having your brushes here, you can. I'm going to actually come over here and close the tab group. So the only thing I have over here now is my navigator here, and then I have my layers, okay? So what does this navigator look like? What is this? What's the purpose for? So you can see that instead of holding down your space bar and moving your picture, you can come here and you see you can move it like that. So I'm just taking my mouse and moving it. So let's say I want to really zoom in on the eyes. I can just come in and really zoom in and get it ready like that. So a lot of people love it like this, and then they end up working like this the rest of the year. They really enjoy doing this. So you can decide which is best for you. I find that it actually slows me down because I'm so used to the other way. But if you really like using this way, then definitely keep it in the painting mode and keep it like that, okay? I'll keep it in painting mode for now, just so that way I can practice a little bit more myself because I need to practice more too. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go to the portrait composite. And in the written instructions that I gave you in the classroom, I tell you to go ahead and come to your portrait composite. And, you could call this portrait composite, or you could call it actually maybe outlines. Let's call it portrait outlines. Because we're always going to come down here to this layer and select on this layer, okay? So first off, we want to make a new layer. So come down here and make a new layer. Now on our portrait outlines layer here, we're going to actually select. So I'm going to zoom in. Let's just do the eyes first, okay? Because it's the easiest thing for me to show you. And you can move that around. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. Now, I want to select both eyes, okay? So you can paint either by selecting or by just painting with the paintbrush. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just paint with the paintbrush because that's the one option that you can do. So I want to come up here to this layer here and I'm going to call it eyes. Okay, now every single time you make a new layer, you have to go over here to your blend mode and you must make it multiply. Okay, because when we make it multiply, it's going to keep the black underneath it. So I'll just show you. So I'm going to come over here and grab my brush. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So here's my brush. And I'm going to do a hard round brush for you to see in the video. But some people like using a soft round brush. Some people like using some of these other brushes as well. And you can use other brushes. You can try them all out, okay? But for the video, it's going to be easiest for me just to show you a hard round right now, okay? So I'm going to hit enter and get out of that. Make everything 100%, and you can play around with your opacity up here later on. And we'll talk a little bit about adding shadows and highlights and things like that. So first thing I want to do is I just want to come over here and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and move this over a little bit. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Okay, and it's going to come down here. Okay, so I just want to, okay, I'm going to bring up my brush. Okay, so I'm just going to make it blue so you can see for now, so you can just see what I'm doing. This is probably a little crazy. That blue might be a little much. I can always change the color, so don't worry. Okay, I'm on a brand new layer. I'm sitting it right on top of my portrait outline, and I'm going to come over here. I have it set to multiply, and I'm just coloring it in. Okay, and I'm just staying in my black outline. Okay, I'm going to come over here, do the same thing, and because it's set to multiply, I am just doing that. Okay, now one fabulous thing I want to tell you, the 2020 version is letting you paint over and over again without making it darker. Remember before when we used to paint on top of the same color, it would make it darker, and that's why we can never really paint for this project because it would make it streaky, but now it doesn't. So this project is so much better with the way they upgraded it. So I'm really happy, and I hope that you guys enjoy this project now. So right now, if I go to my eyes and I set it to normal, I just want to show you what that looks like. So if I set it to normal, it totally covers up my black underneath. But because I have the blend mode set to multiply, it looks like that. Okay, I can make it darken, or, well, you know what? I'm just showing you. If I go to lighten, it's just going to have the black along the outline. So we want to keep it on multiply. Okay, so there it's set to multiply. And there, I'm done with the eyes. Now, I do want to show you with the eyes, I usually like doing gradients with the eyes. So I want to show you, if you select Command and Thumbnail, it selects both of them. So I could actually select both of them, and I could come down here to my adjustment layer, and I could actually change the color of the eyes, put the clipping mask on, and I could change it. See, you can change the color. So I could do something like that. Let's say if I want to make them like brown. You know what, if you want to make them brown, you can add more saturation. I can make them darker. Okay, something like that. So I'm just going to do something like that. Okay, so it was blue earlier and now it's more of a brownish color. And that's just because I added that hue saturation. Okay. I'm going to come back down here again and show you, if you are interested in doing a gradient, I would just select one at a time. So I'm going to come over here and get my magic wand. I'm only going to select this one here. Then I'm going to go to my gradient and I'm going to select a gradient that has so since this has white and blue and black, I'm just going to get that gradient. And then I have no idea what this is going to look like. Let's see. Let's see if I go to radial. Okay, something like that. That's not bad. Okay, and then do Command D. So I'm going to do the same thing over here with this eye. I'm going to select that one, and then I'm going to go to my gradient and do the same thing with that one. Okay, then Command D, deselect. Now, if I want to make them brown, remember I changed the color, I just click on that. Okay, I don't know, this might look weird there, so I might have to come back and like erase that out if I don't like that brown. So maybe, let's see, maybe I want to come down here, get my eraser, and let's see if I can erase that. I don't know if I like that color in there. Maybe I just want to keep it white like it was before. Okay, and you know you can always erase too. So erase to where it was. And then let's see what that looks like. We'll see what that looks like from a distance. We'll have to come back and change that later if we think we need to. Okay, so there's my eyes. So I'm done with my eyes. So let me just do Command 0, and there's the eyes. Okay, now sometimes when you do the eyes and you add the pupils and you change the colors, sometimes I've noticed that I need to come in here and actually make the lines of the eyelids a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call this eyelids. Because I find that once you add that color and you don't thicken the eyelids up, it looks a little weird. So I'm just now going to put black as my foreground color, hit the D key. I'm going to grab my brush, okay, and I'm just going to make it a lot smaller. And I'm just right on my own layer right here, and I'm just going to see, let's see. I'm going to make sure that everything, yeah, make sure everything is good. Okay, I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. Okay. And I can come over here and do the same thing. And if I really wanted to, I could even bring my opacity down, and I could put a little bit more gray here. And you just need to just know that this is just trial and error here. So I'm just sort of, and I don't really like being that zoomed in because I always like seeing what it looks like from a distance, because you have to remember the viewer doesn't see it zoomed in. So just remember, whenever you're doing anything, just remember the viewer doesn't see it how you see it. Okay, I'm just going to undo that. Maybe just do a little bit right here. Okay, so I like it a little bit like that. I think that looks better now. So if I turn that off, you can see it looks like that. And if I turn it on, it looks like that. So you can play around with that. Just know that you can always make every single layer on top, and you can play around with it. If you don't like it, you can just delete the layer. Okay, so there's the eyes are now done for now. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to now come over here and let's see. I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to put my eye, I'm going to put these on top of my eyelids. What? No, you know what? I got to put them on top of there. You know what? I got to release the clipping mask. Okay. So I might group them so that way I don't have a million groups. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and do Command G and then call them eyes. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to then do lips here. So I'm starting with small objects because, I'm starting with small objects because If I do the face, it's a little bit harder, the skin color. So I'm just going to do lips now so you get the idea. So once again, we're going to zoom in. I'm super slow with this whole thing, but okay. And we're going to just paint the lips. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to, so last time with the eyes, I just took my paintbrush and I just painted over them. But sometimes it's easier to get a selection tool. So if you get a selection tool, you can grab your magic wand or your quick selection or even your lasso tool. Let's just try magic wand and see what happens if we do that. You know what, if we do that, it's not going to make the black. So I don't want that. I'm going to do Command D. I am going to grab my quick selection tool. Now the quick selection tool, make sure you have sample layers checked. And the quick selection tool now is a little bit, let's see, I want to just make sure, because we have so many black lines on here, the selection tool, okay. And then remember, you don't want to lose your black outline. So if you lose your black outline, you have to come up here, select, modify, and expand. I'm going to expand it by 2. Let's see what that looks like. Gosh, that might be too much. I'm going to have to go back, undo that. I'm going to expand it by 1. So you don't want to lose your black outline. So sometimes maybe painting is just easier, okay? So I'm just showing you what it is to get a selection. So let's say I choose this color of, let's see, actually, you know what? And you can always go, you know what? Let's go to window and let's go to swatches. You know, there's amazing colors in here now with all the new upgrades. So you can go find a beautiful color. There's lots of great things now. Okay. Let's see. No. I think I already had a color that I used before. So I'm just going to, which one was it? I'll just go to that one right now. And it might be too bright. Oh gosh. You know what? And guess what? I forgot to make it multiply. So let's go down and go to multiply. Okay, clearly that is a horrible color. So I can always just come over here and change it right now and be like, that's horrible. That's a little bit better. And know that you always have the option to come down here, adjustment, and go to hue saturation, and you can change it, you know, right in here, right? So I can always change it. I can make the saturation less. I can make the lightness lighter and darker. So I can change the colors right in there. Okay. And do you see how it went over the mouth? So I'm just going to zoom in, and I don't like that. So sometimes I actually like painting, and I'm just going to show you. Now I'm going to get the eraser tool. I don't even like that. So I'm just going to come in and erase that. Let's see, make sure that I'm actually be down here, and I don't like that. So you might actually find it easier just painting everything instead of using the selection tool. We couldn't use the selection. I mean, we couldn't paint everything before because it would make it streaky. So now that it doesn't make it streaky, oh gosh, those lips look horrible right now, don't they? So I'm going to come over here right now and just bring the opacity down some. Okay. Okay. So you guys are getting the idea. So I'm going to now show you how to do the face. Okay. So there's the lips. Okay, and make a new layer. And then let me just put this, I'm going to call this face. and then just sort of the skin, because I know that this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be painting the color of the skin on this, okay? And I'm going to come over here and zoom in, come up here, make sure I can see the whole face. Okay. What I want to do now is you can try to use the selection tool. I am finding when I try to use the selection tool, um, it's selecting my black instead of my white. So I'm not liking that. And by the time I use my quick selection tool, and by the time I use the plus and minus and move it, I'm finding I'm spending a lot more time than just painting it. So I'm just going to do Command D, get rid of those marching ants, and I'm just going to start painting my face, okay? So I make sure that I'm on multiply, come over here, go to multiply. And since we have fabulous swatches now, we can go into your swatches and you can find gorgeous swatches. You can look in here and get colors that you like. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one here. And there it is, okay? But you can definitely play around with your swatches and definitely spend more time than what I'm doing right now, because I'm just being in a hurry to get this video, so I'm not taking all your time. So, okay, so now I have my layer is labeled, face, skin. I'm going to have it blend mode multiply. There's my color. I'm going to go get my brush. And you guys can decide if you like using a soft round or a hard round. Soft round, let me just show you what it looks like. So if I start using a soft round, I'm going to bring my opacity all the way up, and I'm going to start painting. Okay, now the thing is, it's hard to get into the edges. So I'm going to actually get a hard round. Okay. Now, sometimes when you're going along the edge, you might want to grab a different brush, because you might want to get, let's see if I can maybe get a paintbrush that is something like that goes into it goes along the edges and it doesn't get too crazy. So it's pointy, right? There's the point. So you might want to do an outline first and then come in with your hard round. Okay. So I'm just going to come around. I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So I can go up in there because, okay, now you can see, now you guys are going to have to play around with your brushes. So let's just say, I'm a little slow with that brush. I might come up with my hard round. I'm a little bit faster with my hard round brush, and I just like to just make it smaller and bigger with my right and left brackets, and then I can just get in here a little bit easier. So you guys can play around. Like I said, sometimes it's just old habits that I like, so I really am faster with the hard round brush. And like I said, I'm really enjoying that the fact that it's not streaky anymore. So we could never do this before. Remember at the beginning of the year, if you would take your paintbrush and go over, it would make that darker and then it would show streaks. So I'm so happy that now they fixed that. And now we can come in here and we can color it. And I think you're going to really enjoy this project, because before we couldn't do that. So you guys can decide how you want to do this. Do you want to come around and do an outline first? Go around your black line. And Now you could color the whole thing and then take your eraser and erase that out too. So there's lots of ways that you can go around coloring, okay? So you guys get the idea, okay? And then once you have your outline, then you can make your brush bigger, right bracket, fill it in. Remember, you're going to go over all your black lines. Now, I would recommend just going over the facial hair because we're going to end up coloring that later. So I would say color in over the facial hair, okay? So you guys get the idea. Let me just show you my example here. So you can see that I colored that in. I did the, let's see, where is his face? So, okay, so here's the skin color. So you can see that I colored it in. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you is once you have it colored in, so once you have an area colored in, so once you have an area colored in, here it is right here, face skin, right? I'm going to come over here and go command thumbnail. So command thumbnail. And because it's only this layer with the face, I could, which you see I did up here, I could come, let me just do this real quick. I could come to my gradient and I can go to my gradients and you guys have the neutrals, right? So let's grab, so let me just do that. Okay, so here's the gradient. Let's see if I want, okay. So now, of course, I want to make this darker here. So I'm going to go here and then let's just go quite dark so you can see it on the video. Hit OK. So there's the gradient skin tone, okay? And because I have this thumbnail selected, I'm going to make sure that I'm on here, go to my gradient, go to my linear, and I'm going to want this side lighter than this side. So I'm just going to come over here and, oh gosh, that's the wrong way. Let me hit reverse. Okay, let me undo. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and you can see it's darker there. Okay, so if you want to make it lighter and darker, you can put a gradient in. Let's say I'm not too comfortable with that. I'd rather do it on a new layer. Then I can just make a brand new layer on top. Okay, so here's my new layer. It's clipped to this layer here. If you don't know how to put a clipping mask on, you can, I'm just going to release it. So if you don't know how to put a clipping mask on, I made a new layer, right what it's going, yeah, right, so right, and then create clipping mask. So it's only clipped to this right here. And then it's selected, right? So it's, my face is still selected. I'm up here. Now, if I go to my gradient, I put on my gradient, okay? And this way I can control it a little bit better. So Command D, and you can see I can come to this layer here. I can bring the opacity down. And that way, you know, if I turn it on and off, like, right? So there we go. Turned it on and off. I can make it, let's see, what if I go to blend modes? Oh gosh, that looks, some of those blend modes look horrible. So I would just probably just play around with my opacity and get it something like that. Okay, so now you see that there's a little bit darker shadow on the side of his face here. You also could just come in here and paint a darker color right here, and then you could even definitely paint a lighter color here too. So lots of people like coming in and painting right onto the face, okay? So you guys get the idea now. So basically what you're doing is you're going to every single area and you are making a, let's come back down here again. So you are making a brand new layer, and then on the layer, you're going to multiply and you're painting right on the layer. Okay, and then you're going to make changes with the adjustment layer here. If you ever want to make any changes, just know that you can always come to anything that you make. Let's just say, okay, let's look at the hair. Okay, so this is the first shade of hair that I made. Okay, so anytime you want to make any changes, this one is hair. I'm going to come Command Thumbnail. Okay, and I can literally come down here, come to my adjustment layer. I can put a solid color on. Let's say I want to make it all like, I don't know, darker brown. Okay, something like that. Okay, and then I am going to now, let's see, what do I want to do with that? I want to make this set to multiply. Oh gosh, that looks really crazy. And then bring my opacity down. Okay, but so you can see that I changed the color. Okay, and that is just sitting on top of this hair, right? So every single thing that you do, you're going to come down, you're going to come down to your actual, you're going to come down here to your portrait outline. Okay, you're going to come here, you're going to select whatever you need to select, you're going to make a new layer, and then on that new layer, you're going to make it multiply, and then you're going to color it in. Okay, so then you're going to do that. Okay, and then after you've finished that, let me come to this one here. Okay, so after you finish all of the coloring, okay, you are going to then, let's see, what do I want to do here? Okay, so this one makes all of that. So you're going to end up having a lot of layers. Now you can see that I like playing with my adjustment layers. I like seeing what curves do. So if you are finished at the very end, I would highly recommend for you to add a new layer and make it curves. And with your curves, you can lighten and darken. You can really play around with doing things to enhance your portrait. So you can see, I can move it over to the right, I can move it over to the left, I can move it down, and really play around with your curves. But, it's all practice, of course. So I'm going to turn that off so you can see the difference. Well, actually, you know what? I like that. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Okay. So now we want to put in the instruction sheets, I told you to make a cast shadow. So I have so many layers here. What do I want to do? I need to have you organize all of this. So I am going to, first, I think I'm going to make a composite. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a composite layer. So I'm going to do Shift, Option, Command, and E. Okay. And then I can now go ahead and put all of this in a group. So Command G. Okay. So I can turn off that group. I can turn off my outlines. And here I am. Okay. So if I actually turn everything off, it looks like that. Okay. So now what I want you to do is we have to get rid of your white background first. Okay. So we're going to make a cast shadow. So what I want you to do is select here. So you're on your composite layer. You're going to get your magic wand. You're going to select. Now, notice up here, I have this selected here. So if I want to add to my selection, I always end up having to do more than one selection. So I usually keep it here. So since I have it here, I'm going to take my magic wand, click there. If you don't have this selected, then you can hold down your Shift key and then select this over here. So I want to have my marching ants on that. Now, because I have white in between his hair, I also want to zoom in and go get my magic wand and click anywhere that I see white. Okay. anywhere that I see white, I also want to have that selected. Okay, Command 0. Okay, I think I have everything selected now. Okay, so I want to get rid of my white. So I'm going to go delete. Okay, just got rid of my white. Okay, now I actually want to put black on this because I want to make a shadow. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a new layer. Okay, on this new layer, we're going to we want to fill this outline in with black. So we need to reverse or inverse our selection. So come up here, select, and go to inverse. Now my selection, if I command minus, you can see my selection is only on my portrait. Okay, and I'm up here on this layer. I'm going to hit the D key. I'm going to fill it in with black, Option Delete. Okay, so now there's a shadow. I'm going to Command D. I'm going to drag my shadow down below my portrait. Okay, and you don't see it anymore because I just hit it because this is sitting right on top of it. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and I'm going to, let's see, I probably don't even need, I just do Command T. I need to make it bigger. And hold on, let's see, I'm going to shrink this. Okay, so now I'm going to just make it bigger. Okay, so I want it slightly bigger because I want to have a little bit of the shadow on the left-hand side as well. So it's bigger. I'm going to then do the check mark. Okay, and then I am going to take my move tool. I'm going to move it over. So if I move it over here, it's telling the viewer that the light is coming from over here. If I move my shadow over here, it tells the viewer the light is coming from over here. So because I already made his face lighter over here, I need to move my shadow over here to this side. So putting more of the shadow over there, okay, and less. And I can take my arrows and move it over. Okay, so there's more shadow on the right now. Okay, and next thing I want to do then is, this is a little harsh right now, this black. So let's soften it up and let's go up to filter and blur, and let's put a little bit of a blur on it. Let's make it about 16, around 16, 17, 14, 15, 16, 17, something like that. Okay, and then hit OK. Okay, and next thing we're going to do, we're going to now make a new layer. So make a new layer. If you have black and white as your foreground, you want to add white to the background. The shortcut for adding white to your background is Command Delete. So just take that and drag that down below your shadow. Okay, and let's label all of this background. Okay, let's label this one cast shadow. Oh gosh. I cannot. And then let's label this one portrait. Okay. And so now what you're going to do now, you're going to do your background. And I wanted to show you, oh, you know what? This looks a little weird. I would have come in that and fix that. So I made a video tutorial, a brand new video just for backgrounds, because there's a lot to talk about with backgrounds. So you're going to finish this video, and then you're going to go to the next video, the video that I show you backgrounds, okay? And then I also forgot to show you one thing in the background video. So I made a third video that does radial backgrounds, okay? So basically, let me just sort of show you what that is. So that's Command D. So this video here is the one showing you how to paint. And then, well, yeah, so this one here is showing you how to paint in or fill it in, okay? And that was this one right here. And then after you finish painting in, I'm going to show you how to do these different backgrounds. So I'm going to show you how to do a radial design. I'm going to show you how to bring in a ton of your pictures that you made earlier in the year. And that's the next video that I have made. And You can see that we can add our starburst, we can bring in our glow effect, our spacescapes, and we can do a lot of things with the backgrounds that you've already made, okay? And then just go ahead and, I have written instructions for the painting in the portrait, so you can follow the written instructions for this part too, okay? So anyway, have fun. I would highly recommend making a cast shadow. The reason why is it does create a nice barrier between your person and then the background. So it sort of makes it less busy, I guess. So if you see your shadow does create a little bit of a nice edge for the viewer to sort of see. It makes it more clear for the viewer. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. I will be walking around in class helping you guys with your painting. I hope this wasn't too confusing. And like I said, if you like using the navigator, you can continue setting it up like this. If you don't like using the navigator, you can go back to essentials, okay, and then just keep working that way. Okay, so that's it for now. Go ahead and make sure that you export it correctly. Make sure you keep the title Colorful Portraits, space, last name, first name, P123456, and then export it as a PNG. Okay, and then hand it in Google Classroom. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks. Bye.